In this video, I'm going to talk about what I think a mental illness is and what a mental disorder is, and how I think it needs to be approached. You don't need to use LSD to do this, and I do not even recommend it to anyone at all to do this, as using LSD in this way has potential to make things much worse for yourself. I'm not claiming I have a cure or a solution, yet through my own efforts of confronting my various neuroses, through deep analysis of my own thoughts and feelings, I think there is some merit in what I'm about to talk about in this video. Psychiatrists have their view on this as well, and their solution has been to bombard our brains with drugs, even electrotherapy, and at one point in time, even lobotomies. In my own personal view, I don't think it's an adequate solution. It's simply just a band-aid for a decapitation. I think the reasons doctors go down this route of the drugs is because they're a little bit lost themselves about what to do in the complex area of the brain. It's not from lack of wanting to help, it's just that this currently is the best solution they have. I've spoken to some pharmacists and doctors over time, and although they do have some understanding how the drugs work, whether it be by being an agonist or antagonist in the brain, they don't really 100% understand them themselves. Yet they are happy for you to have a script filled out, take the drugs, and wish you good luck. Through using LSD, I've spent some serious time in contemplation. I also took some tools with me into this deep psychoanalysis of myself, using philosophical thought. I started to question my thoughts and feelings. I acknowledged them, but I never ran to medication even when things got hard. And the reason I did this was I didn't feel I was dealing with the root cause of my condition. I must admit this is a very, very hard thing to do for most people, as you have to confront yourself. Using LSD will show you things you had no idea was going on in your brain, and that's why it's such a hard thing to do. To me, it appears that using LSD allowed me direct access to the depths of my subconscious. I've come to believe over time that using this method, that all my mental problems are caused by my brain processing information the wrong way. I honestly believe that we all have the answers to our own problems. We just don't know how to access the answers or have the heroic courage to even attempt it. I think I have the answers to easing my own mental condition, if not potentially curing it, although that is far from yet to be seen. But perhaps in the future, when we learn more about our brains, and perhaps using things like philosophy and psychedelics, we may find some kind of cure. An example of why I think we might have the answers can be explained this way. Have you ever heard an orator or a motivational speaker say something that you really agree with when you first heard it? If so, why do you think that was? I think the reason being is because what they said you already knew to be true to yourself. It just wasn't conscious to you, but upon hearing it, it then became conscious and it made a lot of sense. I think that making a lot of sense to you actually comes from the subconscious mind, as that's where that belief system comes from. I have another analogy I would like to try and illustrate to you about why I said the brain processes information the wrong way. I see the brain as a series of roads. Let's say I decide to go on a journey I'd never been on before. I decide to drive from one city to another city that are perhaps a couple of 100 kilometers apart. I am most likely going to take the direct highway, as that is the most logical route. Imagine I have maps and a GPS device and a phone in case of emergency. I could easily arrive at my destination with little trouble finding my way. This is a healthy mind. However, if I was trying to make this journey, taking another route that is off the beaten track, I have no maps or GPS device. Over such a long distance, I am likely to get lost. Perhaps I might not even get to my destination at all. I might even run out of fuel, and with no phone to call for help, I am stuck and lost. This is the mind with a mental disorder. This is how the brain thinks. The average brain takes the highway, has maps and a GPS. The lost mind has taken another route, and it has never seen the direct route to the destination before. It thinks this awkward way of maneuvering itself from one place to another is normal. I came to this conclusion using LSD and exploring my own mind, and in further videos I'll get into how deep you really can go in the mind and the things I've seen. So what do we do to correct the mind that takes the wrong route? Well, we need tools. We need to learn to use our brains, and we need to learn to use our brains to treat ourselves. Yes, others can help us to do this. Psychologists, for example, they already do this using things like cognitive behavioral therapy. And that's just one method. And there are many different methods to try and help ourselves. The thing is though, nobody can really give the answers, despite that's what we're looking for often. You have the answers, I really do believe that, but we need to find the right method, the right tools, and learn how to use them to get the answers we need. It's not an easy path, and it can be quite painful, scary, and very confrontational. But honestly, this is my belief that this is the best way to try and treat ourselves. In future videos, I'm going to talk in more detail about how I've gone about attempting to try and ease my mind through the methods I've talked about. So please subscribe and donate towards the channel, and please share the content so that others can also learn and perhaps find some other methods to help themselves.